Did everyone clap?
I clapped.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that it caught that. Anyways, welcome to Burnout Culture, everyone. The industry sucks and so do we. My name is Kazuma Hashimoto, and I'm your resident hater.
My name's GC, and I'm your resident fighter and lover.
Hi, my name is Cullen, and I am the resident truth teller. I have a guilty conscience because last week I came to you all and I told you a lie. I didn't mean to tell you that lie. I was lied to myself because last week I said we would have talks about a little game called Xenoblade Chronicles X on this podcast episode, but a certain someone sabotaged that purposefully because he was burnt out.
Is that
So
me?
GC, do you want to know, do you want to tell me why you committed this heinous crime against me?
Yes.
And our audience, more importantly.
Yes. I have not played the little epilogue thing from Xenoblade Definitive Edition yet. And I have been working very hard on other stuff, on work stuff this week. And also I
See, chat, are you hearing this?
I'm almost done working on a new video, and I've been working on my
Chat,
video.
are you hearing these
In fact,
excuses?
I might get it done tonight,
Yeah.
so it'll be out on Friday next week.
All these excuses, these lies that are being peddled.
Yeah,
Hey, it just means that when we get around to it, it's going to be a really good conversation.
It will,
By that,
it will.
okay, no, really, I don't care. But I was I was brain shopping. I was
You're
brain
just,
shopping
you're just
all day. I was
jostling
out
his
of brain.
droids, huh?
I was like walking around my apartment today. I was like, how can I make GC feel really bad about being too busy
my
to play
God.
Xenoblade for the podcast? And then I was like, well, when we get to it, it's gonna be like GC like gushing about all this and me being like in my distant memory, being like, oh, well, I think, yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm so genuine when I say this. Sometimes
When I lie.
I'm a very
Oh my
sarcastic. I am very naturally a sarcastic person. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm aware that sometimes my sarcasm leaks out. And when it does, especially when I do it to Cullen, I feel really bad about it later. But then Cullen does shit like this. And I go, you know what? I don't think that's sarcasm slipping out. I think that's a defense mechanism to what's being done to me and how I am being accosted.
I just think that you need a little bit of accosting to like keep you on the straight and narrow.
Yes, it's true. Well, it's true. If you want to get me to do something, you just have to piss me off and I'll do it. Yeah.
May I institute a challenge for this episode? For me in particular, no one else has to join in on this.
Mm-hmm.
If I say the words like or I don't know, maybe I'll slap myself or something.
You just did.
No, but I was explaining it. It's like from here on.
So don't do that. It's okay.
What do you?
If you
Yeah,
say
we have an
like
editor for a reason.
I
No.
edit out
Yeah.
most of them. The ones that I
Yeah.
catch. There's a lot of them. I won't lie.
See?
But that's okay because most people talk like that.
I just
I also
want
think
to
it
be
just
better.
sounds better when I listen to a podcast and everyone's just sort of fluidly going through every sentence. I'm like, either you're really good at this and have done this for a long time, or you have a really good editor because nobody speaks like this.
Yeah.
I need to speak like that. I need to have that shit on every single day.
Well, the thing is, so we're not like those podcasts, right? We're literally just like three friends talking mad shit and sometimes enjoying everything. And someone didn't do his homework this week. GC Vasquez.
GC. Oh, another thing to
Everyone-
get GC.
Why is everyone mean to me?
I mean, when I make promises, I keep them. That's all I'm saying.
GC's like that short guy. Like, why is everyone mean to me?
I'm gonna fucking walk away and you're just gonna hear the sound of my ass cheeks clapping together while I'm fucking leaving.
Well, GC.
Jerks. I did not play Silent Hill 4 either, okay? I got scared.
Which is
No,
crazy,
you did. You
by
did.
the way.
You did. You played a little bit. You got to
little
the
bit.
train.
It's
And
terrifying.
then you died. And
It's-
the thing is, you didn't even seem like you were scared. You were just like, I gotta get out of here. And I was like, okay,
I
well, just
heard
go to the
him.
left.
I heard him going.
I was doing my best to focus on the directive. and
Okay.
on my objective of what I had to do in the game, but I kept getting scared by the ghosts, and I was like,
What's
I don't like the
really
sound design of that
funny-
game is incredible, by the way, because
Well,
that was
outside of
all sound
the-
design making me terrified.
Outside of the couple like monster sounds, which are literally just
Fart sounds.
Well, no, they are stock sounds that they just pulled. Like, I think they have a dog sound that
It's
is
like a cougar.
Yeah, it's just like a. Oh wait, hold on. Ow.
Yeah, like that. Yes. Yeah.
But it's really funny that GC decided to baby out on this week's homework because literally days after we recorded that, GOG announced that they were putting Silent Hill 4 into their new initiative to actually like update all these games. So they took the janky, mid-ass, terrible-ass PC port ass. I'm going to use ass instead of like or wait, hold on. Anyway, they took that janky port and they fixed it and they made the best version of Silent Hill 4 ever.
Except you can't gift that version to anyone on GOG. Because I was like, oh, GC, it's on PC. What if I gifted it to you? And he said, what do you say, GC? Well, then I'd have to play it. But then you can't gift anything on GOG.
Just send him $10 and then put in the thing on PayPal. You know what this is for. And then the guilt.
Can you give me his PayPal, please?
Yeah,
Can
sure.
you give me his PayPal right now?
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is very important.
The thing is, GC, I've been dying, and I've been like, oh, I'd really love to watch someone play Silent Hill 4.
Perfect. Yes, lay it on. Lay it on thicker.
Yeah.
More guilt.
Yeah, GC, do you want to hang out? Do you want to play Silent Hill 4? No, I'm scared. Okay, I guess I'll just die then.
You wouldn't
bleeding
want cause
out
to
on
die,
my bed.
would you?
No. Fuck.
Good.
I mean, if GC was like a really good friend, he would buy it himself and not make you buy it while you're
I
feeling
can buy
bad.
it myself. Please do not send me money for this. My tax return came in the mail. I'm good.
I wish I had a tax return still.
I got very lucky this year. This is the first year in like a while that I actually got like a decent tax return.
I
Every
always
other
owe
year
money
is
now.
like, here's $50,
Sucks.
and I'm like, oh, okay.
My tax
Let me do your
return
taxes
was
next year,
not
Cullen.
great.
Do
Sorry, I
them now.
didn't mean to interrupt you, Kazuma.
No, do my taxes next year, please.
Yeah, sure. I can do both your taxes. I like doing taxes. They're fun.
You're
Oh
gonna
my
look at
God,
my
GC, they're the
taxes and you're
best.
gonna go, "What the fuck?" What
I
the
like
fuck,
crunching
man?
numbers.
You're gonna look at mine and go, oh no.
Is the @ fine cause? I don't know how PayPal works.
Yeah, the @'s fine.
Okay, GC's PayPal is.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're
Awesome.
welcome.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. GC, go buy the game.
I'll go buy the game. I'll
I
do
am
it right
actually
now.
I am actually sending it to you via DM right now.
I'll
Okay,
go
thank
buy the
you.
game. Do not send me money for it. I will go buy it.
That's out there now, though.
I
Yeah,
actually,
I have
PayPal's out there.
I do like GOG. I like using GOG. So
Speaking of giving GC things, I need everyone to know that I actually bought Dayquil on Amazon for GC when he was sick and sent it to him in the mail.
it was very
That's
helpful.
awesome.
I actually went through like half of it,
I told you it's what you needed.
and I'm still
I'd like to think-
have like a cough too. Like I'm still kind of messed up.
It's kind of
I'd
funny, cause
Go ahead.
that you were going like, speaking of this, because I was about to do the same thing, like speaking of GOG, but
Yeah.
continue your Dayquil story. I have to slap myself because I said it again.
Oh, don't worry. You're gonna have like a red face by the end of this, Cullen.
Yeah, I'm actually going out on a day trip to DC tomorrow with my lovely girlfriend. So half the like side of my face is just going to be bright red and imprinted with my damn hand.
One hot dog.
I love that for you. But yeah, no, I'd like everyone to walk away from that story to understand that everyone on this podcast, we're still friends, because this is around the breaking point when most people either become like they're no longer friends or they become mortal enemies.
Yeah.
So,
And it must be understood, and I'm sure many of you who listen to this do understand that I do not make it easy for this group to be like, to keep going. I'm always bothering one more than the other, both of these people, by just
Cullen
being
doesn't
me.
bother me. Cullen doesn't bother me.
I gotta do more things to annoy you. I feel like I give too much to GC.
I feel like there aren't a lot of things that you can do to annoy me.
The only reason you do so much to me is because for a while nothing was working, and then you finally cracked the ground and you struck oil, and
What do
now
you mean?
like
Okay.
everything you do is just infuriating.
Okay. Oh, that's.
Sorry,
I thought you meant
fine.
like nothing was. Oh wait, hold on. I thought you meant nothing was actually like our friendship wasn't working. Why isn't our friendship working? Oh, but no, you're right. I even told GC this. That's like, wait, hold on. I call this episode Slap City.
Stop doing that. I have to edit those out
Why would you edit them out?
because no one wants to hear you slap yourself.
I think everyone listening would love to hear that.
This is
There's
Especially
like
if
one
we
guy
talk-
who's like, finally, Cullen is slapping himself.
Wow, Cullen's improving himself and GC keeps cutting it out. At least replace it with like
slapper.
another hold on. At least replace it with another sound. Okay, I found a newer way to make GC hate me, and it's to make the podcast episode miserable to edit. At least replace it with a sound that is similar to a boink or something wacky like that. I look forward to seeing how GC will handle this.
The stock footage of a cougar growling and
Yeah, do the cougar. Do the cougar. do it, GC.
Yeah.
But
If you
I did
insist.
tell GC this. I was saying to him back in the day, I told him, it kind of bothers me that no one reacts to me anymore when I act out. And he said, well, I'm used to it. And then ever since then, I have thought to terrorize everyone I love to see if they'll stay.
You're too whimsical for me, Cullen. I could never be annoyed with you.
But ever since I started doing that, the list of friends has not decreased, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, because you're whimsical. Everyone knows that you don't have hate in your heart like that.
I mean,
Whereas if
That's
I
such a
chewed
lie.
somebody out, well, by comparison to me, right? Like if I started
Sure.
like, yeah, right? Like that's the thing. I'm like, God, Cullen is full of whimsy and joy. I remember being 22 years old.
you're right. I am 22.
I just pictured myself trapped in a room with my friend Robin and Cullen for like 24 hours, like a room with nothing to do but talk to each other in, and I think I made myself angrier at the prospect.
See, the thing is, like, what you have to do is you, me, and Cullen get into a room, right? And the only way that we can not walk away hating each other for 24 hours is if we talk about someone that we hate and channel that energy into
Yeah.
that single conversation.
There has
I
to
would
be a
love
villain in any dynamic. And I think I have decided to become the villain in most dynamics.
No,
But
there
the
Cullen,
thing
you're
doesn't.
not
about-
strong enough to be the villain.
But the thing about villains is like, oh wait, hold on. The thing about villains is that, people like villains. People, wait, does
Yeah?
that count?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
I'll do a light little. Did you catch that? I'll do a little. Anyway, people enjoy the villains. And so I can only hope they'll enjoy me.
Cullen, you're not a villain. You're like the hero that is like morally
up.
dubious at times, but you're the Setsuna FCA of the group,
That's the best thing you could have told me. I love Setsuna.
Yeah, well, that's like the equivalent to like how I feel that you would be regarded in like a show. And I think GC would actually be the protagonist.
That's.
I mean, Setsuna's the protagonist.
I don't need.
Well,
Don't.
GC
My
has very
ego-
strong leadership.
My ego. It's so big. Please don't. Please,
GC
I can't. I'm just gonna get too heavy. I'm gonna fall over.
Where would you sit on the scale between Amuro and Char Aznavour? Notice how I
Hathaway.
only said the full name of one of them because I don't respect the other.
Hathaway is my answer.
So basically kinda in the middle-ish.
Kind of just sick of it all, and like, well, someone's got to do something.
I gotta rewatch that movie. It's so good.
Hathaway's Flash is very good.
So what do y'all
See,
been
that's funny.
up
Yeah.
to? Never mind. Cause continue
No, I
that
was-
thought
I
and
was gonna
GC
say
can
that-
edit this out.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually kind of funny that you say that because that reminds me of our Gundam cover. If you think
Oh, yeah.
about it, where GC was
Oh.
Char and
I
you were
was.
Setsuna. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
GC on a bad day will drop a colony on Australia or
I mean,
whatever.
Char never did that.
Yeah.
Sorry, but he was like super about it though, wasn't he?
No, he wanted to drop an asteroid on the whole planet. It's different.
Yeah, he had grander ambitions, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So they do a colony drop, and Char's like, "That's pussy shit. Check this out.
Give me a
Fucking
couple years."
big meteor."
Apparently people really liked our Gundam talk last podcast.
Yeah.
I went back to listen to it and I was so mad at myself for saying the two forbidden phrases again and again and again that I decided to start slapping myself. But I'm glad people really liked it. We actually got some people in our podcast Discord to start watching Gundam, which is a win.
Yes. Always exciting stuff.
Oh, well, so like for me, I really wanted to get Jake into Gundam. So we watched Double O's first season together because I don't like the second season of the movie. Sorry, Cullen. I know those are big faves for you.
They're sacred text for me, but I respect you enough so that you're allowed to have your own opinion. If I don't respect you, then you are not allowed to have your own opinion, and that is how I look at that for real. Absolutely, 100%.
I love that. And then we watched Gundam Wing, which it's really interesting to see the way that series sort of like swerves when it was like, okay, stop doing this. We need to sell toys right now. And he absolutely fell in love with like Zex and Trays, which are my favorites as well. And since then, it's been really hard to get him to watch anything because I feel like we kept going into the ones that were not good. Like the one that you really hated, Cullen, what was that? It wasn't just Seed, because
Unicorn?
We hate Seed. Yes, Unicorn.
Yeah.
Yes. We watched we tried to watch Unicorn because of the composer, and it was like, oh, this is fucking bad. And then we stopped.
Yes. I would recommend you both watch After War Gundam X because it was the show that was made by the team that made Gundam Wing right after Wing.
Is it good?
It's one of my faves. I haven't finished it yet, but I absolutely adore it. It is really surprising because I tried to watch Gundam Wing and I will do it one day, but I didn't really like it. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't really like it. Every time I hear GC go, I feel joy. I feel absolute joy at what I've done to him. He's not going to speak to me for a week after this. But I didn't like Wing too much. But
oh no, it's a fucking disaster. Like that's the thing, right? Like it's not great by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's
got your blorbos.
Fucking mobile suits are crazy, but yeah, no, I'm never gonna be like, I can't believe you didn't like the Gundam I like. When I'm like, no, this is not great. I only love the guy who fires a musket in the year 3000 whatever, who's like, oh yes, the return to imperialism through tradition, and the guy with the long blonde hair. So it ain't that serious. Endless Waltz I think is good though.
I'm honestly, I want to do Wing just to get to Endless Waltz, mostly because I think the big Angel Wing Gundam is very cool. But After War Gundam X, it is one of the only non-Tomino shows to get what he was trying to do with new types, but it's made by the Gundam Wing team, and it's not like a one-to-one in like characterization. Personally, I think it's better. Like the characters are a lot more defined, and there's
is there a Wu Fei?
No.
Okay, then it's already a lot. I mean, Wu Fei is like funny for meme purposes. He's like the world's most incredible 14-year-old misogynist.
Yeah.
But yeah. Already a step ahead of no Wu Fei.
I feel as if I am stepping into the like. Oh, hold on. I feel like hold on. I feel like nothing. GC, you don't want to give me the satisfaction. I feel as if I were to step into hell on earth by asking you this question, but please bear with me with your response.
I'm going to kill him.
What do you think of a show called Eureka 7?
I've not seen Eureka 7.
I was asking Kaz on that.
Eureka 7, yeah, I've actually seen it.
What do you think about it?
I liked it. Okay. I liked what originally came out in America, and anything after that they added in later. Absolutely fucking not.
So,
like, I don't like the Anemone movie. I don't care for like any of that.
So, After War Gundam X is a story about a aimless boy unsure about where he is in life, finding his way onto a ragtag group of miscreants' little ship where there is a special girl with mysterious powers who cannot fully understand those around her and is trying to slowly over time become more in tuned with them. The people who made Eureka 7 really liked Gundam X.
Okay, I understand.
The whole show of Eureka 7 feels like it is paying homage to Gundam X. So I think you should give Gundam X a shot. Maybe you might end up liking it. I really do. It's also only 39 episodes.
Oh my god, okay, you got me there. 39 episodes, that's possible for me.
It got canceled.
And they're 22-minute long, right?
Yeah, normal length episodes.
They're like half-hour episodes, yeah.
Yeah, Gundam X got super canceled because no one was watching it. But from what I have been told, it still manages to wrap itself up in a very, very strong way.
It's unfortunate because the voice actor who voices Zoro in the One Piece animation, I believe his debut role is in Gundam X, and he's very good in it as well. So you go, folks. If you're a One Piece fan and you like the animation, guess what? There's a voice actor in there in Gundam X that you might enjoy.
Also, it has a really cool setting where it's essentially a post-apocalypse where a bunch of colonies dropped onto Earth at once and destroyed any semblance of a unified government. So you just have these but it's not as if the whole setting is just desolate wastelands. You see these little pockets of society pop back up, and there are like cities and towns, but it does feel as if the world is fundamentally different. And you're seeing a lot of these different groups try to reform what is left in their own image. It's very interesting. It's one of my favorites that I've watched. When I finish it, I have a feeling it's going to be in my top 5.
One of the great comparisons you can make is, I don't know if you've ever seen the original Mad Max movie, but the original Mad Max movie has a very similar setting where it's not like desolate wasteland. It is like the collapse of civilization. So people still live in their homes. People still live in normal places. There's just no governing body. And it's basically just like, it's basically lawlessness, but like civilization still exists. It's just, there is no unified, like you said, there's no unified government. So towns pop up and then get burnt to the ground, and then they build the town somewhere else, whoever survived. And you're just seeing that sort of like, you're sort of seeing like the human race trying to like maintain a sense of normalcy. Yeah. And that's basically the setting.
I love that.
I think you and Jake might actually really like that show.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll check it out when we're not rewatching Mindhunter for the 20th time while we're working. So, yeah, let's move into what we've been doing, because I feel myself fading.
There's others like me.
Go.
Yeah. So I'll get this out of the way really fast. I played Doom: The Dark Ages. I got invited to a Doom preview event, and it's a Xbox 360 game. Best and worst way possible. For some reason, they really want to like lean into this whole like techno feudalist aesthetic, which doesn't really work for Doom because it just feels like knockoff Warhammer, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like 40K. It's not fantastic. You use a shield now, and you can like shield bash and throw your shield at enemies to like instantly kill them, or use it to bash through walls and create new paths, or even jump to new areas. It's just like, but in that way, it's like kind of a mess, because it's like taking away what people really liked about Doom, and that's this really fast, frenetic pace of just like constant murder, but now it's
Yeah.
like superheat the enemy to throw your shield at it to break its armor and then kill it. And it's just too many steps to carnage, right?
It's
Like,
over
it's
designed.
oh yeah, way over designed.
Yeah.
And the music is okay. So when I think of Doom, I think of two things, right? It's like the music and the opening of Doom 2016, and it's rip and tear until it's done as you're like riding down the elevator, and then the Doom theme plays, and it's so good because we were hanging out after I had come back from the preview with Cullen and everybody else, and I played that opening. And I was like, oh, this is still really good. This is still really fucking good. And it made me realize how like not great the Dark Ages is, especially in terms of music and like sound design, because I had to pull an attendant over and be like, hey, so is there supposed to be music playing? And they said, well, a lot of music doesn't play until you get past the prologue. And this is like a Doom game. Like, why is it silent for the most part?
From
And when the
minute
music-
one, there should be a soundtrack.
Like, that's iconic. I would argue, this might be extreme and people might disagree with me, the music of Doom 1 is like the most iconic thing about all of Doom 1.
Yes, yeah. Other than
That is
being able
Doom.
to other than being able to play it on literally anything, like you can play
It's
that
a
shit on a
good game
PDF
and
now,
all.
apparently. Yeah.
But it's that music, I think, that is stuck
Mhm.
with people more than anything else.
Especially 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
2016 literally, like, Mick Gordon's soundtrack for Doom 2016 literally invented a new kind of metal. It's called Argent metal,
Mhm.
and it's quite contentious. People are like, well, it doesn't exist. And other people are like, well, it does exist, right? It's like a
You
more
heard it.
experimental way of,
No, I'm saying when people go like, oh, that doesn't exist, what was it you just heard and listened to then? Shut up.
Exactly. And just, I also watched his GDC talk as I was writing this preview up, and him talking about all of the things he did within the restraints of that soundtrack were fascinating. Like, he wasn't allowed to use a guitar for that soundtrack, Cullen.
Huh?
Yes, he used the chainsaw noise from Doom to basically twist, chop and screw to make a guitar sound.
Why were they not? Why? Huh? Why?
They didn't want him to use a guitar. So
That
he
was a
didn't
stipulation.
use a guitar. Yeah, so he couldn't use a guitar. So
But
he
why?
found really creative ways to remake the sound of a guitar through audio mixing.
Props to him, but again, why?
I mean, it came out fantastic, right?
Oh,
They
of
had this
course.
guy who was extremely like creative and skilled and talented to do this, and literally made one of the best like metal albums of all time. Like BFG Division's crazy, Rip and Tear is crazy, and in the Dark Ages, they're posting videos of this. They got, hang on, let me see. Doom, the Dark Ages composer, they got Finishing Move to do the music for Doom, the Dark Ages, and they did Borderlands 3, the Callisto Protocol, Halo Anniversary Edition, Crackdown 3. It's all things that like aren't necessarily related to Doom at all in terms of sound. And I think that was the problem, right? They could have actually gotten like an Argent metal band or people that are in that sphere to make this OST, but
Or
instead
Mick
they got something.
Gordon.
Yeah, well, that's never gonna fucking happen.
Yeah.
They fucked that
So
up.
yeah, they fucked it up real bad, and it's a shame. I mean, it's their problem now because like
Yeah.
I think G-Sen were talking, and you said that the shadow of Mick Gordon hangs over the franchise now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. So the music is really like, it's really generic, by the way. It's really generic. It's heavy for the sake of being heavy. It has all of the like drops and guitar riffs you think it should have, but it doesn't stick with you. It's not something that you have like a reaction to when you hear it. Like when, again, BFG Division, that song I think is like one of the most well-known songs on 2016's soundtrack, and it was inspired by what he thought it would feel like shooting a shotgun, and it really feels that way. It really fucking feels that way.
Heavy and
This
boring.
is-
Call that the McDonald's milkshake of soundtracks.
I like
Ugh.
that's gonna be a new descriptor now, the McDonald's milkshake of soundtracks. Also, for some reason you ride a dragon in this game, but the finisher's really slow. And okay, on the
Welcome
back of a
back,
dragon,
Guard.
yeah. Oh, Cullen. Ooh. So on the back of okay, if you get a dragon in Doom, what do you think you're gonna do on that dragon?
Pet it.
Breathe fire.
Give it
Eat
treats.
some people. Pick people up in my claws and toss them into the air so I can shoot them.
Call it a good boy.
So you want to know what you do? You can fly,
Okay.
but you need to auto-target your enemies to shoot them with Gatling guns on the dragons, and then dodge to initiate witch time to use stronger bullets. And the only time you breathe fire is when you have your finisher, in which the dragon opens the mouth of a giant enemy and breathes that fire down its throat, and that is the only finisher it has.
Okay.
You have a mech. What do you think? How do you think that mech is going to control? You think it's going to be heavy, right? You think it's going to feel tactile. It's going to feel sluggish, powerful. No, you walk at the same speed as the Doomslayer and you punch, 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 witch time dodge, punch, 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 witch time dodge, shoot, 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 witch time dodge.
Why does the Doomslayer have a witch time?
I don't fucking know.
That's my question is the point of Doom is that it doesn't slow down. Why would you implement a mechanic in which things slow down? That seems
it's
antithetical.
Like, it reminds me. So have you guys played Gears of War?
Back in the day, a little bit.
War.
You know, the game series Game Informer was praising when they were getting really like racist and homophobic towards Japanese games. I actually quite like the Gears of War games.
Gears of War, not Heroes of War. Yeah, I've
played
played the first 3.
So
Actually,
you remember
really
how like
playthroughs of all those? They seem fun.
They are.
Gears of War 1's still good. I wish there was more than 2-person co-op because I would totally play that fucking game with you guys.
Yep.
I love Gears of War 1 and 2. You remember like how in Gears of War they started to sort of experiment more and add more things in the game, like the game series as time went on, and then it got bloated and started being not fun because it was innovation for the sake of just adding new shit in the game.
Yep.
That's exactly what that feels like.
Yeah, it's an
Like,
over design problem, an overproduction problem where it's like you have this really good gimmick, this really like specific thing that people identify your series with and what your games play like, and you feel the need to make it more interesting, and what you've inevitably done is removed the thing that makes the game that people enjoy playing.
Like, I just want to fucking run and gun and kill demons and listen to some metal. Like, that's sort of what the experience is now, right? Like, having this origin story for the Doomslayer where he's like being enslaved by some greater gods or whatever to kill demons. I don't fucking care about that. I don't care about who this man is. He is a vehicle of carnage, and I am along for the ride, right?
Let's compare it to Doom 2016, where the joke of that game is there is a story that is happening. The Doomslayer does not care.
Yes.
The Doomslayer is just there to kill things. And that is what and then he meets all these characters that are like, you got to do this and this and this. And you're just like, no, fuck you. You need a key card. I punch the key card holder. I go through the door. Shut up, you know?
The Jack Garland of Western video game protagonists.
They should bring Jack Garland back. They should make another Final Fantasy Origin, and they should just have Jack Garland go through more Final Fantasy games and just kill everybody in them.
And I want to
Fantasy 2.
I want to make something clear to people listening. Like, if they wanted to do like a story in the Doom universe, that's cool and all. But the precedent that Doom 2016, and I think to a lesser extent Doom Eternal, the precedent that those games have set is they have set the tone for every Doom game in this like era from here on out for now, right? So it's like to pivot into something different now just seems really like out of character for the series, and a lot of people are gonna bump against that and they're not gonna find that enjoyable, and that's a problem. It's a problem because Doom is known as like a one specific thing, and if you're changing it, it's gotta be good to work. And according to Kazuma, it is not.
It's just shitty Warhammer. And the thing is, like, you can't have knockoff Warhammer when Warhammer is now a popular thing in like the public conscious, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people know what Warhammer 40K is now. You can't just have this generic gross space fantasy setting where people are covered in like metal and have shields and look fucked up and demonic, because you already have the fucking Chaos Legion or whatever from Warhammer. You already have the Space Marines. You already have that violence and carnage. But like Warhammer plays it straight, and because it's always played it straight, people take that shit seriously. But in Doom, if you're like, I guess he's a pawn of the gods, okay, I guess his entire origin story is that he just doesn't do this because he woke up and a fucking techno-capitalist corporation is killing everybody. No, this is a great... It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Whatever, but...
Remember the original story to Doom. They killed his bunny, and he wants revenge.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah. Tonally, that is Doom. Doom does not care about the
John Wick
reasons
before it
for
was John
why
Wick.
you do the thing.
He was John Wick before he was John Wick.
That is true.
Before John Wick, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He killed my rabbit. Time to fucking kill, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. You can read my full opinion at the Rolling Stone, because that's when my preview is gonna come out. It's already gonna be out by the time this goes live, so fuck it, you know?
Yeah, bucket.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they could have gotten this so wrong. It's such a simple game, you know? I don't think Doom players expect an incredible, like, I don't think Doom players care that much for, like, a story or anything other than gun feel good to shoot, demon die, music good.
And occasionally funny joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, on to better video games.
Oh?
No, I mean, I'll tell my little World of Warcraft story really, really quick. So anyone that listens and knows who my World of Warcraft characters are, please don't tell anybody. Basically, my World of Warcraft RP story went up on Polygon. And it's about the role-playing community and how cool it is, right? Well, people are now trying to figure out who my characters are like in-game. I guess to get close to me for some reason. Probably, I don't want to speculate because I want to put words in anybody's mouth. But that feature went up. Researching that feature, I went and hung out in a lot of different roleplay venues, just sat around, listened to stuff. Someone was talking about their divorce. It was pretty crazy. There was like an intervention regarding somebody getting divorced. The nobility and Silver Moon do not shut their fucking mouths, by the way. Like, if you want to know about political intrigue and like a player-driven experience, which is actually quite fun, you'll get it.
Go to the tavern, eavesdrop.
Yeah, people will talk. Oh my god, GC, I witnessed in Gilneas two members of the nobility going outside of the tavern to shout at each other because one had promised them a seat in Parliament and then didn't deliver and
Sorry,
was
that
like,
was me.
I'm gonna ruin your career.
Oh,
That was me. My bad.
Cullen, thank you. I've given that information to someone else now. I'm an
shit.
information broker in this
That's
game
fucked.
now.
I wish
Yeah.
you didn't tell anyone that, but I shouldn't have been making mistakes like that to begin with, so that's
Yeah, you
on
shouldn't
me.
have said that shit in public.
Yeah. I just got really into it. I just really got heated in the moment, and I just had to start yapping. You know how it is.
Yeah, but I wrote that. Playing World of Warcraft still remains fun. Have made some really cool groups of friends there. But yeah, if you know who I am, please don't tell anybody who I am in game. I would really appreciate that, listeners who do play World of Warcraft and listen to this podcast. I would like to remain anonymous. But GC, talk about Atomfall. How was Atomfall? Your first pretty
yes.
serious review for Silicon Era.
Big boy GC
Well,
making moves, shifting
okay.
waves.
So let me just assume the character. So I was able to review Atomfall last week, and it's good.
Whoa.
You gave it a 9
It's-
out of 10, right?
Yes. I don't think the review's out yet, but I think it will be by the time this podcast goes out. It is. I did give it a 9 out of 10. I've seen a lot of people scoring it a little lower. A lot of people just think it's kind of neat and not much else. But I got to tell you, it is a really fun. So for people that don't know, Atomfall is a pseudo post-apocalyptic nuclear sci-fi game. What I mean by pseudo post-apocalyptic is that it's based on a real life thing that happened in the United Kingdom in Cumberland, I think, which is now Cumbria. It was a windscale fire. So one of the pyres for a nuclear plant caught fire and burned for like 3 days or some shit. And then it leaked a ton of radiation. It killed like 100 people or something. And that happened over the course of 3 days. Atomfall is historical fiction. It's alternate history where that incident, it was like it happened and then they quarantined the area and then like years went by and the area was still quarantined and like they were sending military people in and people weren't coming out and stuff like that. So immediately the first thing you think of is Fallout, right? Like when I describe when I say the words that I just said, you think Fallout. And I think a lot of people were going into this game thinking it was going to be like a Fallout or a Stalker or maybe even like a Metro. And I actually think Atomfall fits in a really nice space that none of these games kind of deliver on, where it is a game that feels good to play. I like the guns in it. Shooting feels very good. Guns feel very heavy. Every shot feels very like significant and ammo counts are really like scarce. So they call themselves an action survival game. And the reason they say that is because there's no level progression. There's no RPG systems in the game. There are 0 RPG systems in the game. You do not gain experience. You don't gain levels. Everything you do to improve yourself is through upgrading your guns, scavenging for ammo, for resources, finding melee weapons, managing your limited inventory space, crafting things when you need them, discovering new crafting recipes, trading with like other NPCs for items that you don't have that you want, or recipes that you want to learn, or manuals, like training manuals, which you use to learn skills, which they don't give you the skills. You have to find other items that you spend on the skills that you've learned from the manuals to get those skills. And none of the skills do a whole lot. There's a skill that's like, oh, you can throw stuff a little further, or you get extra health. And when they say extra health, they mean an additional, the meter is broken up into 4 chunks. And then this gives you an additional chunk. Like, it's all these little incremental like upgrades and stuff. And I understand that a lot of people will probably hear that and go, oh, well, I don't want to, like, that doesn't seem like really fun. On the contrary, every fucking encounter in that game is so good. It's so tense. Everything you find in that game is important. Every piece of ammo you collect is precious. And you do this blend of like stealth and ambushing and all this stuff in a world that is full of little secrets. So everybody in the game is basically withholding information from you, and you are more of like a detective. You're not really somebody with like a vendetta. You wake up in the quarantine zone. You don't know how you got there. And a guy tells you, hey, you got to get out of here. You got to tell people about what's going on in here. And that's it. And then the game pushes you out into the zone and you're like, and it's like, go. And your quest structure isn't traditional. So there's no traditional quest system. You have leads and you can follow leads, but by default on like the standard difficulty settings, which you can customize, by the way, on default on the standard difficulty settings, the way they want you to play, or the way they intend for you to play the game, so to speak, is there's no markers on your map being like, oh, you want to go do this like lead, like find out where this is going on, go here. There's none of that. You have to find it yourself. So they'll say things like, there's a village in the zone that you can get to, and somebody there might know something. and you'll have like a general idea of where that is, and you have to go find it. You can find other bits of, like, you can find notes or recordings or stuff of people detailing more of the area, and then that might reveal a marker on your map that's like bigger, but like specific things like, oh, where is this person hiding? Oh, where did this person bury this cache of items or this cache of items? None of that's going to be on the map for you. You have to figure that out yourself. You have to read the notes and go, oh, this is here. I'm going to go here. Like, there was one where there was a lady, her name is June, and you find a note about her out in the woods or out in Slatendale, which is like the starting area. And it's her writing to her loved one, like her lover. And she's like, I'm sorry. You know, I have to go back to being June from the little tea room. And then you go to Wyndham Village and you find another note, and it's like, oh, you got to fucking put that girl in the detention facility and you got to sterilize the little tea room building. So then you go find the little tea room building in town, which is not labeled on the map. You just have to go looking around for buildings and see a sign out front of one that says the little tea room. You sneak inside because you're technically trespassing and they'll shoot you on sight if they catch you in there. And you find an item, and then that item lets you do another thing. And the whole game is just investigating these things, talking to NPCs, being given information that may or may not be accurate, cross-referencing that with things you find, and coming to your own conclusions about people's intent and what they're here for and what's going on. And then ultimately you have to trust one of them to help you escape. And those are your endings. And it's, you know, who do you rely on? Who do you trust to do all these things? And the game builds such a good mystery and it builds such good intrigue and curiosity that I didn't really care that there weren't these like RPG systems that I'm usually accustomed to. In fact, I was really happy to not have them there because everything's very fresh. Everything's very new. The way things work in that game is really interesting. Like upgrading guns, you have to find more guns of the same kind, of the same quality, but guns take up inventory space. You can only have 4 large weapons in your inventory. And obviously you probably have a melee weapon and like 3 other guns, but now you have to like reserve a space to pick up another gun that you can use to upgrade your other gun. And upgrading your gun isn't even a possibility if you don't find the crafting manual for that skill to unlock it so that you can actually upgrade guns. So you can play the entire game without ever doing that. And that's also fine because the game is largely about resource management and just being good at dealing with threats and of sometimes just avoiding threats. I don't know how, I don't know the last time I played a game where I was like, oh, that's too many people. That's a waste of bullets. I'm going around. And I didn't feel like I was missing out on stuff because again, there's no XP system. There's no RPG system. So I'm not losing out on anything by avoiding contact with enemies. So stealth and avoiding conflict is actually a valid strategy that isn't punished by the mechanics at play. It's awesome. It's so cool. Like, and
you framing it like that has kind of put a puzzle piece in my brain a little bit, flipped a switch, flipped all the switches. Cause now I'm like, oh, I kind of want to play this because I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows and that's a game I actually think is really good, but the weird RPG systems kind of like slapped on top of that do not really feel like they always work.
Yeah.
Also, I said it twice.
That's a great comparison because yeah, avoiding conflict in a stealth game should kind of be a no-brainer, right? Like that should be something you should be able to do without feeling like you're missing out on something. And in Atomfall, they've nailed that. You can play that entire game without killing a single person. You can play that entire game without killing. I don't recommend you play it that way, but you could do it if you wanted to. I don't know. Everything I encountered was super good. The gameplay systems were super good to play. Like, oh my God, I had like, there were multiple situations where I had max ammo on a gun, and I thought, oh, okay, well, I'm good for whatever. One encounter goes by, and suddenly I have half of that, or like a quarter of what I had before, and I go, shit, fuck, I don't have ammo for my gun anymore. I had full pistol ammo, and I got really egotistical about it. So I started using my pistol to deal with people all the time, and then I ran out of pistol ammo, and then I couldn't use my pistol anymore. And that was the game punishing me for being wasteful. And it was really good. It's really engrossing. It's really captivating. The only thing I'll say is I think the one thing that Atomfall really sort of shies away from, I don't think it fails outright, but it really shies away from, is they played it very safe with the world building elements. And what I mean by that is a really interesting world building that is going on in that game. When you don't know what's happening, when you don't know what's going on, a lot of the setup is really good. And then the reveals happen, but they don't follow through with them. Like, things don't escalate to a point where you feel sort of, there's no like big revelation. There's no like sudden, like, there's no climax. There's no climax to that story. Things, you just do a thing and then the game ends, basically. And like, you learn the truth of like what's going on, and it doesn't feel as impactful as it could have been had it been presented in a slightly better way. But it's such a small problem. Literally, my only complaint with Atomfall is I wish they had doubled down on the parts of the game that make it science fiction. I think they held those details too close to the chest, and that's good. When you do stuff like this in the way that they're doing it, like, yeah, holding those details close to the chest is really good. But I think they did it too much. I think they went way past the amount that they needed to have done. And it almost it detracts a little bit from the very powerful intrigue that they've created with that game. I loved it. I said it in my review. I'll say it here. In that game, you become better at killing things, but you never become harder to kill.
Ooh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's all skill.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can upgrade your character, and you can become more resistant to certain status effects. You can become a little bit tankier. You can do more damage. But if you are not playing smart, if you are like rushing into a bunch of people with guns, they will still be able to kill you just as easily as they did at the start of the game, at the end of the game. And if you don't like that, if you want waypoint markers, if you want enemies to be a little dumb, if you want enemies to have less health, if you want enemies to do less damage, guess what? The entire game has customizable settings that you can change at any time. And when I mean customizable, I don't mean easy, medium, hard. I mean, everything I just described, you can change. You can literally change the AI behavior to do different things in the settings, in the custom settings menu. You can change the amount of enemies that are in any given area. You can turn off sprinting using up your stamina. If you hate stamina meters like that, you can just turn that off. You can add waypoint markers. You can do anything. You can customize almost anything. You can change the scarcity of resources if you want. You can make them so much more abundant. If you think you're getting them too much, you can lower that. You can cater that experience to the exact specific kind of experience you want. And it's like, I loved it. I loved Atomfall. I was very, very, very pleased with Atomfall. I genuinely want a sequel to Atomfall. I want Atomfall to be a series. I genuinely think it belongs in the same space as Metro 2033, Stalker, and Fallout, in that space of that kind of game, because it is delivering a very different experience while still sort of adhering to a lot of those themes and a lot of that setting. There was one more thing, one very important thing. Oh, it's gone. It's so
Sad.
gone. It was
One
something
important
to
thing about the
do-
game or another game?
No, about
that
the
you want-
game.
Okay.
Oh, it's also fairly short.
That is exactly what I want to hear.
It is not Fallout length. It is not Stalker length. It is not Metro length. I think it might actually be similar to Metro. On Steam, my playtime is 33 hours. My actual playtime on my save when I beat the game and hit credits for the first time was about 21, which is like, you would think, oh, that's so tiny. No, the entire game is dense as fuck. Every location is full of shit to do. There are no empty stretches of just walking around like you would do in Fallout. There is no stupid fucking Radiant side quest to make you spend 2-3 hours finding a rock in a field that you have to give to somebody so they can snort it. There's none of that. Everything in that game, everything you do in that game adds to the puzzle. Everything you do in that game builds out the world. Everything you do in that game helps you solve the many mysteries in it. There's like very little wasted space in that game. It's great. It's fantastic. Loved it. Could not recommend it more. Very, very excited to see if they make another one. It's getting a story expansion. I forgot about that. So you can buy you can. So it's also not a full price game. So it's $50 USD.
Okay.
So it's even cheaper. It's not even like a $60 game. It's a $50 game. And then the deluxe edition is $70. And the deluxe edition brings, if I understand it correctly, the deluxe edition has it gives you the next story expansion pack, because they've already announced that they're doing an expansion that adds a new location, new gameplay features, new enemies, new stuff, like all that stuff. So you can buy the deluxe edition for that if you want. But yeah, could not recommend it enough. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Cool.
Absolutely love it.
Sick. Anything else you've been playing?
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to keep it on the GC train, by comparison, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fucking weird ass game.
Sure
On the
is.
topic of Assassin's Creed.
You're finally getting to the point, or like the point where I was like, I don't know if I actually like this game.
Yeah, so I was pretty good. I think I talked about Odyssey the other episode, but I was pretty positive on it when I talked about it last. And now that I've had more time with it, I'm a little confused. I've stopped doing all the side quests, basically. Anything that's not like a named character with like a quest chain to it, I've stopped doing. All that speaking of Radiant quests, where it's like, can you deliver this letter to the goat farmer 100 meters down the street? Well, I don't want to do it. I stopped doing all of those because they're pointless and they're meaningless and they add nothing to the experience. It's just padding. And I started doing these side quests, and for the most part, side quests are okay. There are more than a handful, so a significant amount of side quests that have really weird writing. Assassin's Creed Odyssey feels like a writer was given, and I'm not doing this to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm doing this to sort of
make sense of it,
contextualize like what it feels like, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like somebody was given. You get a side. Let's do a little armchair game dev, right?
I get a side quest?
You get assigned a handful of side quests. You got to design some side quests for, I don't know, Athens, the Athens area of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Here is the maximum amount of dialogue that they can have. Here's the maximum amount of space they can take up. Here's how long the quest needs to take. Go. And you're a writer. You're a game dev writer. You want to be known for the quality of your work. So you put your whole ass into it. And you want like meaningful, powerful takeaways from all of these side quests. The problem is that all of these side quests take 5 to 10 minutes. And the cutscenes, and that includes cutscenes, voiced cutscenes. So really, the actual the gameplay parts of those side quests is like 2 minutes long, and then you have, I don't know, 3 minutes of dialogue. So, 5 sentences, 6 sentences.
There's an abundance of things in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but nothing of any real quality.
Yes. So there's no way to make a compelling story in that time, right? There's no so instead of a side quest being sort of like this is sort of the magic of a traditional fetch quest. People look at fetch quests and they turn their noses up at it. I don't want to get 10 boar skins and bring it to the farmer for the winter. I don't want to do that. I want something with meaning. The problem is that sometimes menial work kind of adds to the role you're playing in a game. For instance,
it's also just it adds to the world as well. Like this guy's like, just I need these boar skins for winter. It gets fucking cold in here. Like, okay, so it gets cold in the winter. It's like these small things. Like,
yeah, it's Xenoblade Chronicles, to go back to something that I love recently. Like the fetch quests in that build up the world, and you learn about the relationships between one NPC and another, and suddenly you're like, oh, I give a shit about this place.
I got a game for you. I think you'd really play if you
Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. I know. Anyway, there is in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and in previous Assassin's Creeds, there were side quests that you would do that with, right? Or you would have a very long side quest, usually with a famous historical figure. In Odyssey, you have these really tiny side quests with unnamed NPCs. They don't have names. You don't learn about them. They don't add to the world because they're not persistent characters in it. And instead of them being like fetch quests that just sort of like detail a little bit of the world of like, oh yeah, in ancient Greece, they used to, I don't know, crush these berries up to make the dye for the statues that you see all around, right? Instead of making a quest like that, you get a quest of like, there's a guy and he's going into the cave of Eros, which is the cave of pleasure, basically, or love and lust or whatever.
Cave that suck me.
Yeah, cave that suck me good dry. So
I love how on the nose that is, just like in Unity when Arno meets the father of BDSM and he's like, you want to, go? And Arno's like, I want to get out of here is what I want to do.
Yeah. So like, and that's like a chain of, and you meet that character and you keep meeting him. And then every time you meet him, he's like in more precarious situations or like being more promiscuous. And it's like, oh, this builds up like the debauchery of like that era, right? Of like a subsection of the culture in that era. But in Odyssey, it's like, oh, he's going into the cave, and when he comes out, he's going to choose a lover, and I want to give myself an advantage in the contest. And then like a witch shows up, and the witch is like, I'll make you a love potion. So you go and you get the materials for the love potion. And then you give her the materials and they make the love, and they're like, oh, meet us at the place where the guy's going to pick the lady. And then you go there and the lady's like, the lady you made the love potion for is like, you got to kill the witch. And you're like, why? And you're like, she made me bald. The love potion made me bald. And the witch turns out to be like the guy's like childhood friend who always loved him. And he picked her instead of the lady that went bald. And now the lady wants you to kill her. And it's very cliche, but also like your two choices. You're also given like a moral choice, and you are actually given the option to kill the witch, get her killed by the guards, or tell the other lady, hey, shit sucks, too bad. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting across what this is, but this is like, it's like really weird moral choices in a situation that shouldn't. First of all, none of these choices are like, or feel natural. Like if I was like, if I was in the shoes of the main character doing this side quest, I wouldn't have this strong of like a horse in the race, because like killing the witch is like literally you going, you're a witch, you're a trickster, you're an evil sorceress. No, you're just some fucking mercenary that was ordered to go get some fucking like goat horns or whatever. Like I'm not gonna go fucking kill this lady.
I wish I think they started this in Odyssey and they carried into Shadows, is that they want to make it feel like an RPG, and they think RPG means dialogue option and freedom of choice. Mm-hmm. And if it's really going to diminish the experience that much and mean nothing, then like don't have it at all. Like,
Yeah.
go back to Unity and Syndicate where you're just playing a set character that makes set actions because it'll just be your game will just be stronger for it. Like, don't add these things because you feel like they need to be in there. Even though I know these decisions get made because of shareholders, but man,
Well, we still
what
got
a
to criticize it
fucking
so
drag.
that the more people that criticize it, the more likely it is that shareholders will learn about it. But anyway,
See, even if we criticize it, Baldur's Gate 3,
sure.
the shadow, yeah, that's gonna hang large over the industry for a very long time in terms of we should have dialogue options. We should have consequences. Consequences are meaningless in these fucking games. Doesn't matter.
What's really
Nothing fucking
funny
matters.
about Shadows is there's even an option when you boot it up that asks, would you like to play the game in canon mode where you don't get choices? And that just tells
Yes.
me, so they don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I'm not against the concept of like,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
choices that-
say.
yeah,
Mhm.
choices that don't really matter in my RPGs. They can add like flavor texts.
Yeah.
That's interesting in its own way. But also in an Assassin's Creed game, it feels a bit, I don't know. This is not why
It feels
I'm here.
hokey. It's hokey.
A little, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
lame because like I'm the whole premise of Assassin's Creed games is that you are living, you're not actually like in control of the character. So like contextually in Assassin's Creed, you are not controlling the character you are playing as. In universe, you are simply
Living a
reliving
memory.
their life. So you shouldn't actually have input like that. Now, a little flavor text, sure, that's fine. That's cute, whatever, right? Like every time I get Cassandra to like fucking yell at somebody or like be sarcastic, that's great, whatever. Like if there's like an opportunity for fun flavor, that's fine. But all of these decisions that are supposed to be like these like big monumental like questions to ask the player make no sense to me because this is not the series that I come to this for. This is not the game that I come to have ethical quandaries about stuff, which and becomes
You can just say
that becomes-
slavery.
yeah, that becomes a problem when the setting very candidly talks about slavery. And I'm okay with that. Ancient Greece had slavery and they were very matter of fact about it. Like that was just normal. It was also very different from the slavery that we had in like the colonies and shit. So like I get it. Like you want to talk about ancient slavery, that's fine. That was part of the time period. Don't shy away from that. But also don't give me multiple dialogue options across multiple side quests where at the end of every single side quest I've played having to do with slavery, I get to voice my support of slavery. And I get you control the buttons you press. Yes, that's great. Awesome. Cool. I obviously didn't pick those buttons. I have a problem with the fundamental principle of giving players an opportunity to think slavery is
cool.
okay. I think about the meta textual context of giving a player the opportunity to go, you know, slavery is a necessary evil. And honestly, you know, if slaves, you know, some slaves just want to be slaves. Some slaves are okay with being slaves and they would rather be slaves than anything else. And
Yes, the Game of Thrones quandary.
And I'm
Please,
like,
Khaleesi, let me be a slave again.
I have a problem with that just on the basis of like, we're not actually in ancient Greece anymore. And the person picking these options is not actually from ancient Greece. And there is a point where role-playing becomes an outlet for self-discovery. If you've ever played a tabletop RPG, you know this. And enabling people to sort of like advocate for slavery, even if it's context sensitive into the setting and stuff, is weird. It's weird. I'm not going to say it's outright evil. I am going to say it's fucking weird, dude. Like, why? Also, like, it's extra weird because like now I don't know how Cassandra actually feels about slavery, right? This is how I feel about slavery, but I have no idea how the character I'm playing as feels about it. And there's so much again, I am playing a character who is reliving another character's life. I am in the animus. I am not creating Cassandra the character. I am not influencing or informing the character. I am there to learn about that character. Historically in Assassin's Creed, it's like, you don't tell Edward Kenway what to do. You are watching what Edward Kenway did, past tense. So like, by the end of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, you know who Edward Kenway is. You have a good understanding of this actual complex character. By the end of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, you have a good idea of who Evie Fry and Jacob Fry are, right?
Or
the way they're different.
Ezio.
Even Ezio.
Talk about the most like popular one, like of all time.
Like you get to watch Ezio make mistakes, say the wrong things, correct himself on those, double down on other things. Like, that's the character, and that's more compelling. Whereas in Odyssey, it's like, I don't know who Cassandra is. I don't know, for that matter, if I picked Alexios, I don't know who Alexios is. I don't know who these characters are. I don't know.
They are who you make them, or
That's
whatever.
Boring.
And that's boring.
And it's stupid because at the end of the day, have you played the final DLC yet?
No, I haven't gone through the main story yet.
Okay, so I'm just gonna spoil this because I feel like people should know, and I think you know what happens too. Regardless of how you play your character, you will get railroaded into heterosexuality for literally no reason.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed has already departed from this idea that there is like a long family line of all these characters from the same like bloodline. They're no longer that anymore. So like, there's no reason for certain characters to reproduce, which is really frustrating if you're playing which is extra frustrating because both Alexios and Cassandra can be gay, and exclusively so by your choices. So you can decide, I'm not going to have any heterosexual romances in this game. But then eventually the game will be like, no. But really stop playing around, make a baby. Like,
here's this random character you're just introduced to have sex.
And that's sort of like a really good like conclusion to my problem with Odyssey, which is like, what is the point of giving me all these options where one, none of these characters matter? Like, you're giving me the option to like kill a person or not. And like, I've known them for 2 minutes. I have no stake in this. Like, this is not like, if you wanted to give me a choice, right? You would give me choices that reflect my magnitude of importance in the conflict, right? I'm not like invested in all this. This is first, like, if anything, Cassandra is often characterized as a mercenary who does things for money and like will just kind of take whatever job she gets. But like, in the main story, she has principles and she, doesn't do everything just for money. So like, there's this really weird dissonance between like me picking options for things and then also not reflecting the little bits of the character I do get to see, but then also those decisions not mattering because all of the characters I make decisions for vanish afterwards. And then also there's no real consequences. Like, I let sick people live at the very start of the game. And then the minute I left the island they were on, my ship captain was like, hey, by the way, the island you just left, I just heard that a plague spread throughout the whole fucking place and the whole place is fucked up. Let me know when you want to go back. And I was like, I'll go back right now. And like, the area was all like destroyed, but none of the characters that I had met on the island, main story characters important to Cassandra's backstory, none of them were there to talk to. Like, there was no cutscene to like show me the consequences of my act. It was just like a very minor change that amounted to nothing. And it's just so bizarre. It's like, I've never seen a game try so hard to make me feel so important and end up making me feel.
You know what the problem is? The main characters are now too much of a main character, if you know what I mean. Ezio was a participant in very significant moments in history.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say he was the main like, I'd say Cesare Borgia was the main character of the story, right?
Also, a lot of Ezio's character that ends up happening in the later Ezio games are him kind of just being, well, life didn't really, like, I wasn't the main character in my life. What do I do with myself? And even that, like, That's interesting.
Yes. The end of Assassin's Creed Revelations is one of my favorite things in Assassin's Creed period, because it's Ezio talking directly to Desmond, a person he has no idea about, and going, Desmond, look, I don't know who you are, but my entire life has basically been for your sake. And I don't know how to deal with that, but I do know that sometimes we are put on this world for a greater thing than who we are. Sometimes the importance of our life goes beyond like our own sort of like personal goals and stuff like that. And like just this really good conversation about like, yeah, like we are insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but at the same time, we are incredibly vital for the grand scheme of things. And it's such a good, like, it's such a good, just like it's oddly wholesome. Like it's really like peace. It's very heartwarming. It's very peacemaking. Like it's good. I love it. And then you get to Odyssey and it's like, everything you do in this game feels so unimportant. Everything you do in this game feels so like...
But you're the most important, GC. It's just that way in Origins too, where it's like, here is this guy who is the protagonist because he's going to found the Order of Assassins, him and his fucking ex-wife,
divorced wife.
Yeah, where you are the main character. In Odyssey, you are the... Just wait until you learn who your father is.
And I'm just like... And I'm okay with like... I'm really okay with making characters important, but the player does not need, especially in Assassin's Creed, I do not need to make life-changing decisions for the world around me, especially if those life-changing decisions make it really obvious to me that the world isn't real. It's you ever like, there's a real world example to this. You ever go somewhere and somebody's like really into you, but like really into you, and you are just not interested, or like not even romantically, but like someone's like obsessed with you, right?
Buddy, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
like someone's like, you are like, somebody recognizes you at a convention. Okay. And they say hi to you and you have a little chat, and then you go to say your goodbyes, and then they start following you and talking to you more. And you are spending like the next 30 minutes of somebody like giving you compliments and stuff. And it's just like, being like, oh, you know, it's so cool that you did this. And like, it was super important that you did that. And like, I love that you did this. And you are being showered with so much praise that you get fucking sick of it. And you are like, leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. I am not that important. And
that's
like
how I feel playing Dragon Age Inquisition.
But that's how I feel playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey too. Like, fuck. Like, I don't know. I just tonally it's just not Assassin's Creed. Like, that's not Assassin's Creed. That's not Assassin's Creed. That is antithetically not Assassin's Creed.
When you were talking about Ezio's story and how it ends on that note where he's like, I've done everything in service of someone who I don't even know, that actually makes me sort of feel that, yeah, there's like that like idea of like a hopeful future, but also futility with all of their protagonists, right? Like,
yes,
in the end, what they do, even if this story involves them, what they're doing in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter.
They will not see the results.
Exactly. Like, I think I really got that feeling when I was playing Unity and the French Revolution was happening around Arno, and he literally didn't fucking care. Right? Like,
no, it didn't matter to him.
No, it didn't matter. And there's like that sense of futility. Like, what he did in that game actually wasn't all that impactful outside of what he did in service to the Order. And I think that's really interesting for Assassin's Creed characters, is either they have that revelation that they've been serving this Order for a reason that is beyond them, or they're just wholly dedicated to it, right? I think only the Fry twins are the ones that are like, okay, yeah, but they have like a really healthy work-life relationship, weirdly enough.
You know who's a great Assassin's Creed? I'm gonna bring him back up. Edward Kenway is really good about that, because Edward Kenway is the Assassin's Creed character who, without realizing it, is desperately trying to fight the fact that he is part of a grander plan. and he is rebelling against that aggressively.
No, my destiny is my own. No, my destiny is my own.
And he is literally like, Ezio is like, I am at peace with the fact that like, the things I do now, I won't see the results of that. My life is not my own. Edward Kenway is in a similar situation, and just basically up until like the very end of the game is like, no, I'm my life, me, dude, fuck off. Like I care about me. I care about me. I care about my own happiness. I care about my future. I don't care about this or that or whatever. And like, ultimately, like, I think it's been a while, but like basically the end of Assassin's Creed 4 is like him basically like kind of acquiescing just a little bit, but still getting he gets what he wants, but ultimately he feels awful about it. And like over time realizes that despite all of his like thrashing, he ultimately still falls into the role he is meant to play. And it's very good. It is a very bittersweet kind of ending to a game. I love Black Flag. Go play that game. That game's great. I hope it gets
play as a pirate. Yo-ho, the free seas. Just kidding, asshole. It's
great. It's also really good. Like, it's a very decent represent. It's not as romanticized as a lot of pirate stuff is. It's actually very pretty good about showcasing like what piracy was like in that era. Not completely authentically. Obviously, there's still a lot of romanticization about it, but it's not rose-colored glasses at all. Anyway, yeah, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, just the fucking I'm really liking. It's really unfortunate because I really like all the gameplay changes from Origins. The game plays a lot better, and exploration is a lot better, and the environments are a lot more interesting. I'm sorry, Egypt, it's just desert in your game. You deserved better, but that's what they did with it. Yeah, that's basically everything I've been playing.
You should go back and play the Ezio games after this.
I played a bit of Brotherhood a couple years back. I just got the Switch version, and because I was thinking, I want that. I want those feelings again that I had playing those games when I was young. And Brotherhood still holds up. That game's really good.
Do they still have the time gating stuff where it's like, if you wait 5 hours, your game is busted because all of your assassins are top tier?
Yeah, so like the real-time missions that you send people on so they level up?
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't know if I got that far, but I just remember running around because I think Brotherhood's in Rome. That sounds about right.
It's in Italy.
Italy? Okay. I don't know where.
Renaissance period.
There's something, some big shift in Brotherhood. But anyway, I really liked what I played at Brotherhood. And honestly, I do want to go back and play those older games because I've been playing a bit of Shadows. Not enough really to talk about it to the length that you've talked about this one. Mostly because after I got through the prologue, I have just been roaming the open world and not doing any story. So all I can say is RPG mechanics just okay, stealth real good.
Do you have Yasuke unlocked yet?
No, I don't.
Apparently it's so fucking fun to just burst through walls and surprise enemies that way. Like straight up Kool-Aid man it.
Mm-hmm. There was a bit of that in the prologue though that I got to do. And the way the animation that he has as he bursts through walls is amazing every single time.
Oh, seriously?
Yes, it is hilariously good. Like, I say hilarious, not in a bad way. It is just funny. Like, it's so satisfying. The way his hands kind of go in as like a bit of a little cross and they like blast out. And because the game has really good destruction physics, even as Naoki.
Okay.
So let's say you're in a like one of the many castles throughout, and you're sneaking your way up and around, and a lot of them involve you having to like go inside the castles themselves. If you get into a little like scuffle in a like tight quarters, small space, as you're fighting people, the walls around you kind of get destroyed and knocked down a little bit. It's really it's chaotic and really fun. And the game is gorgeous as well. There's even a weather mechanic, and you can change the season. I don't know the entire gimmick of that yet. I just hold on. This is for GC. I opened my map and I saw there's there was this clock on the top right, and I held a button, and then it changed it to spring from fall. And I was kind of just like, okay, interesting. Cool, I guess. But I all I can really say to people, don't play it with the English voice acting.
No. Play it in
Immersive mode.
immersion mode or whatever that has people speaking Portuguese and Japanese. I told Jake about that, by the way, and he's like, holy shit, that's amazing. That's literally all I want in an Assassin's Creed game, right? I play Assassin's Creed Unity in French. I play I play Syndicate in English. Yeah, just play it with the immersion mode. If you're not like hard of seeing, I would definitely do that.
I maybe give the English a shot, but
no, don't do it. Don't do it.
I was going to say, but
yeah,
my warning with that comes with maybe give it a very short, quick shot, because I did the whole prologue in English, and any of the emotional bits didn't with Naoe and her backstory did not land at all. I have no ill will towards this voice actor. I know it's a really whole complicated thing on like voice acting in games, direction. And it's probably the direction, I'll be real. But she just doesn't do it.
Fun fact. Wait, no, that's not the case. Wait, is this one of those cases where the Japanese is voiced by the same actor?
No.
Okay.
What?
I wanted to check.
I forget the name. I did look this up, and I like very extensively tried to find this. They are different actors. Japan has its own voice cast.
Okay, what a really weird choice then, because weird choice like that in the music. Okay, all right.
I've been enjoying the music for what it is so far. Honestly, I'm right now. I'm so early on in the grand scheme of things. Like I'd say 5 to maybe 10 hours in. Haven't done any of the story yet, so I'm just running around playing the video game. And I will say, as a video game, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I look forward to playing more. Mm-hmm. I hope the story will be anything, but if it's not, as a stealth game experience, this is pretty solid.
Someone buy it on PC in like 2 months so I can play it.
I'm also playing on PS5, and I will tell everyone out there, quality mode is a hoax. Never play games on quality mode. That 60 FPS in performance mode is perfect for that game.
The Assassin's Creed podcast, it happened.
Sorry.
I'm so happy.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. I'm so happy.
I'm gonna replay Unity. I just really like it a lot. Arno's a wet dog, but I love it.
I think I might do a series on Assassin's Creed, like a video series. That'd be fun.
You absolutely should. That'd be really entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh, I love doing this thing with you when you're like, I should do this, and I aggressively go, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Make things. Which I will segue into my last little thing I've done in the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. Because I imagine after this, we're going to do questions. It's about that time. Have either of you ever read or seen any of the works by Naoki Urasawa?
No.
Well, GC, we watched a couple episodes of Master Keaton.
Yes.
But this is the mangaka who did Monster, 20th Century Boys, Master Keaton, and a manga I started reading called Billy Bat.
Oh, this thing you've been talking about on Blue Sky where it's like fuck Walt Disney?
Okay.
Walt Disney? Okay.
So to spoil a little bit of my buildup, but that's fine.
Sorry, that's all I know is fuck Walt Disney.
But that is honestly one of the biggest takeaways. Billy Bat as a manga is basically showing you over the course of 160 hours the failings and the evil of the United States. It is, while it is from the perspective of comic artists, it is thematically, it is very much a story about what it means to be an artist and the way that art and the capitalism unfortunately commingle, and how people co-opt the passion of artists to twist their messaging and more or less control the populace. It is, at the end of the day, a story where Naoki Urasawa looks you dead in the eyes and says, Walt Disney was the biggest piece of shit, most evil motherfucker known to man and ruined history. And I go, yeah, he kind of was. Yeah. It's like he's responsible for every evil thing in the entire world.
Is working on me.
And I go, I know. So much so, my minor little spoiler, where they're basically, but bear with me here. This might be a bit of a pull to people who would want to get interested in. I give the spoiler to you all. You could skip ahead a little bit if you don't want to hear anything about it, but so this is a manga that basically has the scope of all of human history, but it is very interested in the period from of the 1900s, because as we're all aware, that is some of the most influential time in the entire history of all of humanity.
The 20th century, yes.
A lot of shit happens in the 20th century. So a lot of Billy Bat is cameos from historical, massive people important to history just show up in Billy Bat. One of the main characters for a while is Lee Harvey Oswald.
What?
There is a whole arc of this that is about the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
I need to read this immediately.
And some of the characters, and because what Billy Bat does is, actually, I should explain what the fuck the actual premise is. Basically, I forget the exact period of time. I think it's the 1950s, 1960s. There is a comic artist in America. He's a Japanese American who is drawing a comic called Billy Bat. And Billy Bat is, let's just say, the in-universe stand-in for Mickey Mouse. But he finds out that someone in Japan was making a comic called Billy Bat. So he goes back home and finds out, basically sees that Billy Bat is kind of like it's hard to describe this. It's a bit of a supernatural influence where people are just seeing these Billy Bat markings everywhere throughout all of history. And Billy Bat kind of talks to people. But when he comes back to America, he finds out that a guy more or less stole the idea, and that man is Walt Disney, and Billy Bat becomes the famous American, like we are seeing the process of, over time, of Mickey Mouse and the Walt Disney Company become a global superpower. So it jumps all throughout time through this to build its story, and it is very quickly paced, and it's all over the place. And so there's definitely a moment which you will jump back to periods in the 20th century where you will see people like Einstein and Adolf Hitler. And I shit you not, their thing in this is basically Hitler being like, hey, Walt Disney, I'm going to need you to go to America and ruin the world with Billy Bat. And I need you to go do a mega evil capitalism because I hate everything. And that's your mission. So this
author's note, Walt Disney was famously anti-Semitic.
Yes. This is taking taking certain characteristics of these people and putting those extremes on absolute blast. And time again, it's not like one-to-one, it's not completely historical. It is like fiction based on history, but it is so much being like, hey, I, as a manga artist, I love drawing. I love art. I love drawing comics. I love telling stories. I am so very much I have so much passion about the nature of art. Fuck Walt Disney. I fucking hate that guy. That is the worst guy on earth. I will say to anyone who thinks, oh, this sounds really interesting, I would recommend looking into some content warnings, because this is really a story about humanity and especially America. It does not shy away at all on how terrible America is. There's a period of time in this manga that takes place in the civil rights movement, and it shows the KKK and racists for what they are. I
need to read this.
There's a point where I'm like, Naoki Urasawa, I'm not sure you're allowed to use that word, but I guess like, you know, they would say that. Fair enough. It is, if you are a creative person, even if you end up not liking Billy Bat, I'd say it's still worth a read. I think it's pretty high up there for me because I do like Urasawa's work overall. I don't know if I would say it's necessarily the best first Urasawa work, unless you're a bit, I don't know how to say this, crackhead affectionate. Like radical. You like some shit that fucking goes.
Yeah.
I would say for people who typically dabble in more normal media, let me give Monster a try. I think that's a bit more of like his normal work, and even that gets kind of crazy.
Wait, you're like, go read Monster instead. Are you insane, Cullen?
I've seen all of them.
I just think it's so funny because you're like, you know, Billy Bat might be too much. Go look at Monster instead. That's more normal.
No, it is. No,
That's what I'm laughing at. Is like the Billy Bat experience is going, oh, he was pulling his punches in Monster.
Yeah. Like wait, hold on. I've read 20th Century Boys. That is so out there and it's so extreme in its subject matter. And if there were a scale between 20th Century Boys and Monster, this would be past 20th Century Boys. This is a very fast-paced manga. It is a manga that just goes and goes and goes and goes, and it spouts a lot of ideals, and there's a lot of really interesting characters here, and it's a complicated web of a story to really process. But I think its thematic intentions are so pure, and the way it fucking blasts American imperialism and specifically says, you fuckers ruined art with your shit ass propaganda.
Oh yeah.
The way you sighed, GC.
Oh yeah.
There's this fucker Billy Bat is yelling at people in the 1900s saying, look, no, you have to do this. You have to do this. 9/11 might happen. You got to listen. You can't be letting this shit happen in history. Stop. Please do something. And people are like, I don't know what he's talking about. And I'm just like, did Mickey Mouse just tell me about 9/11? I don't feel safe right now. I need to call my mom. I didn't expect in the Lee Harvey Oswald chapter we're gonna be talking about 9/11.
I'm really interested in reading Billy Bat. I know it's not officially translated, right?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of Naoki Urasawa is one of the most popular mangaka in the world. A lot of his works have been translated,
but Billy Bat is not.
There is a very you read this and you understand immediately.
I mean, the anti-American sentiment is enough to explain why it has not been localized for America, because it is directly attacking America propaganda machines. So obviously they're not going to do that because they fully expect it to get rejected from being allowed to be sold here, et cetera, et cetera.
So yeah, it has a fan translation. The app I was reading on, I think kind of jumped between translations, but it was always like, fine enough. But it's a hell of a read. If nothing else, I think Urasawa's works are crazy, like page turners. So I would sit here and I'd just like, oh, time for a nice little Billy Bat session. And then 2 hours of my life would be gone. And I'm like, okay, but just one more chapter. Just one more chapter. I have to see the funny bat. I have to see the funny bat.
I get into the habit every time I read manga. it's always so hard for me to sit down and like read anything, but when I do, I just go through the whole thing.
GC, you would definitely, I think, get a kick out of reading.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Billy
like,
Bat.
you know me, like any fucking like classic punk fucking like anti-establishment piece of anything. I'm all there. Like I'm, God damn it. I eat that shit up.
For you, I definitely think you would really get a lot out of 20th Century Boys and Billy Bat. I don't know if I'd say that Monster is necessarily anti-establishment, but it does have a lot of like ideas in that general ballpark. Urasawa is very consistent in his beliefs, and it's one of those works where it is just bearing its heart to you constantly. And if you, listener, if you have not understand that about me, that's the kind of works that I really gravitate towards.
Yeah, manifestos.
Yes. Yes. I like my art being a big manifesto.
Basically someone just pouring their thoughts and emotions onto the page and hoping that somebody listens to it and like,
kill Walt Disney, kill him in hell.
Yes.
Doomslayer, go.
Find where they've frozen his body and fucking shatter it into millions of pieces.
If the next Doom game was kill a Walt Disney proxy in hell, I would actually buy it.
Sick.
I was sitting here staring up at the sky, at the ceiling for like 30 minutes after I read the ending of this, just kind of feeling like terrible in a lot of ways and just ruminating on what in the directions they chose to take this story and what Urasawa is trying to say about art and the really complicated issue he brings up with where this goes. But the one coherent thought I had in that fugue state was someone's gotta kill Walt Disney. Someone's gotta kill that dude. That's one of the most evil motherfuckers on the whole planet.
Thank God he's dead.
I don't think it's enough.
What do you mean he's back?
Find out where he's buried.
Metal begins to play. Sorry.
And they called him the Walt Slayer.
Oh my god, just telling Billy Bat rip and tear until it's done.
Rip and tear until it is done.
Oh, I would love that. You know how I love anti-establishment media? This is going to be really quick. You know, I love stuff that's sort of like very critical of the status quo, very critical of like government bodies, because it is my opinion that if you are a politician or someone in power, your existence is literally being criticized. That you've chosen that as your job. As a politician, your job is to get yelled at by your constituents until you do things they want. That is your duty to the people. Anyway, so I decided to throw all of that out the window and completely contradict myself by watching the first couple of episodes of Miami Vice, a cop drama set in the 80s in Miami. And it is definitely a show about the 80s in Miami, filmed in, when was it filmed? Hold on, I gotta see when the original, in 1984. So this is not a Miami Vice is not a period piece. Miami Vice might as well be like Law and Order. The way Law and Order works, where it's like usually they're talking about stuff that happened like 3 months ago, right? Miami Vice is like, when it was made, it was current day, right? It was basically current day drama. Number one, really good depiction of Miami stuff, like visually just really great, really capturing the essence of like what Miami was like, to the point where the show doesn't even start in Miami. It starts in New York. Like the first scene, the first like sequence is in New York, and then they cut to Miami to like really like juxtapose the environment. It's a cop show, so obviously from the 80s. So I expected a lot of propaganda. I expected a lot of like sexism, homophobia, that sort of thing, because it's from that era.
Can't be worse than Mrs. Doubtfire, honestly, regarding the homophobia and transphobia. Rewatched that the other night, and I was just like, oh my fucking god.
Well, in the first episode of Miami Vice, which is a two-parter, a man dresses up in drag to trick somebody so that he can kill them. However,
Right.
there is no sexual undertones for it. It is literally a disguise, which is still bad.
He's just like a
He just
freak.
dresses up
Okay,
in a
yeah.
dress and then like catches, like, it's not like, oh, this guy's gonna like feel me up and like it's gonna turn out that I'm not a lady. It's not like that. It's literally just he's in disguise. If he's just dressing like a lady to not be like found out in a crowd. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then you know what? I'm a little more tolerant to that than I am whatever fucking Mrs. Doubtfire was doing.
Like, it's still not like the best, but like it did not go. The first episode of Miami Vice did not go as far as to like be super bad. However, there are a couple of jokes at the expense of gay people, but also, so, okay, here's the thing, right? The first episode of Miami Vice introduces the fact that there is that the cops are, so you have your, I forget his name already, but you have your main character. You have your two main characters, right? One is a cop from New York who comes down to Miami to avenge his brother or his squad partner. And the other guy is a vice cop in the Miami Police Department who is undercover as a drug runner. He's got a fast boat and that's his cover. He delivers drugs across, the waters. They find out that there is a leak in their department. Somebody is giving the drug dealers, like the kingpin, like information, and they're like, they keep fucking up their jobs, and somebody's like purposely doing things. And like the entire like 2-part episode, so it took an hour and a half. It's like its own movie basically. You could watch the first episode of Miami Vice, and that would just be a movie. You kind of like they it's really weird because it's a cop drama and there's definitely some elements of propaganda in it, but there's also a lot of like actual like frank discussions about law enforcement in it, where the cops are not necessarily, number one, most of the cops are all incompetent. They're either incompetent or dirty. So like the story really follows these two guys that are like they're altruistic like cops or whatever. They're not like ideal cops either. Like your main character's an alcoholic and divorced and like kind of a schlub.
Me too, buddy.
Yeah.
Get in line. Yeah.
And then the other cop, like the deuteragonist, right? He's like hell bent on like revenge. Like he's like obsessed with like getting the guy that killed his partner, and he's like really like focused in on it, but he's almost like it's really weird. Like he's not he's a guy from Brooklyn, right? And he shows up to Miami and he hates all of the bureaucracy involved in like a lot of the stuff they're doing. But also he's like hyper aware of the fact that because he's from the New York Police Department, he knows that everything's fucked up. He knows that everything's corrupt. Like he literally shows up and he's like, you have a fucking leak in your department. Like your fucking department sucks. Like everybody there is like crooked, and like he's like pissed off about it. So it's this really weird balance. Like I couldn't like, obviously like it leans positive towards cops because your main characters are like good cops, quote unquote. But there is a lot of like commentary about what the scene was like in the 80s in Miami, which is to say that a lot of times law enforcement simply was kind of bad at their jobs or purposefully not catching people that were doing bad things. Yeah, no, it was like a really good first episode. The second episode features the actor from Married with Children and Modern Family. You know that guy, the guy that marries Eva Long. What's her name?
It's Sophia, whatever her name is, right?
Sophia
Not Eva Longoria.
Eva
She was
Longoria,
married to
right?
Joe Manganiello, and then they got a divorce or something.
Yeah. So that guy, the guy that plays her husband in the show, is that Joe Manganiello?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the guy that plays her husband in the show, he shows up in the second episode of Miami Vice as an FBI agent who is also undercover. And the whole episode is about whether or not he's turned over to whether or not he's like gone too far over the edge. And he's undercover in a adult film studio who may be using minors to film their videos. And so the whole episode revolves around like, the whole episode is like about like, you know, undercover work and like people who turn over to the other side and like the fucking psychological damage that it does to you, because a lot of times this is actually true. Undercover cops who are undercover for a long time actually have to either they fucking 86 themselves or they go through a lot of intensive therapy to undo the fucking shit that the living like that does to your brain chemistry, which is like you live like this fucking life of like this like hardened criminal for so long, and then you have to like undo that shit, and it's hard. And it's like it was actually really cool. Unfortunately, I don't think it was like nothing's really stood out to me. Like I thought the first episode was really good. The second episode was fine. It was just like TV stuff. But yeah, Miami Vice seems really cool. I feel like I have to watch this show because I was born and raised in Miami. Like I feel like I like, you know, I owe it to myself because I grew up in that environment. So like I want to know about it more, or at least I want to see how people romanticized it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, it's visually, it's really cool. Some of the stuff's pretty compelling. Some of the comedy's pretty good too. I don't know. It seems to be like the blueprint for a lot of buddy cop drama stuff. So I will continue watching and report with more later.
How are the suits, GC?
Oh my God. They haven't done it yet. They have. Oh, wait, no. So the guy from Miami, the main character from Miami, his outfits are phenomenal. Like that guy dresses to the nines, but also he's undercover. So he's not dressed like a cop. He's dressed like he's dressed like a fucking drug kingpin from the 80s. And then his partner so far is still dressed like a New York, like all of his suits just look like he's from like Harvard or like academia. So like I have to see, like I have to wait until I get to the point where he starts dressing more like he's from Miami. But it was cool. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to show y'all the first episode of Miami Vice because like I think that would be interesting.
Love to watch it.
It'd be fun.
It's definitely not a show I think you have to be like constantly actively watching though. So like it's definitely something that we can just put on in the background while we're
like many
doing
cop
other
shows.
shit. Yeah. But this one has like something that I noticed that other cop dramas don't seem to have as much, or like they play it up too much, is like there's a lot of understated emotional baggage to your characters. There's like the end of the first episode is really good where like, well, I won't spoil it, but like there's like a really tender moment with a character, and it's like he does a thing because he knows he might die, and like he's resolving a loose end, or at least trying to make peace with something. It's really cool. Really cool bits in Miami Vice. I'm going to keep watching more. Hopefully it picks up after, you know, it's a TV show from the 80s. So like it takes a second for, back then it took a while for TV shows to really like get their legs and know what they wanted to be about and what they wanted to do. So, you know, for Star Trek fans, I'm waiting for the Cisco shaves his head moment where Star Trek Deep Space Nine is kind of like an okay show. And then the first episode where Cisco shaves his head, like where it's revealed that he has shaved his head for the role and he starts wearing a goatee. Suddenly Star Trek Deep Space Nine becomes like one of the greatest things ever put to television. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Do we got questions?
We do have questions.
Excellent.
Yes. So we're going to split up our questions today, keep our questions a bit short. And we'll circle back next time for more. But let's see. Bram asks, what's the strongest animal each of you think you could beat in a barehanded one-on-one fight?
I want to say maybe a wolf dog.
Yeah, I was going to say dog.
Monkey.
Oh my God,
You're
Cullen.
crazy.
Okay.
You're
I
crazy.
could beat the living fuck out of one of those.
You're insane. You have no idea.
I'm just as scrappy, if not scrappier.
I know that's the joke. That's the callback to like a previous joke, but there's no fucking way you could beat a monkey.
I could.
There's no fucking way.
Because I
Man
know it
thinks
would
he's
go for the
Charles
eyes,
Dance.
and I would grab its arms as it went to go for my eyes, and then I'd start slamming it back and forth.
They're so strong. You have no idea. They're so strong.
It's about speed. I just got to catch it off guard
my
like
God.
once. You grab it by the arms, and you remember
Every
in the
trained
Avengers,
fighter in a
when-
30-mile radius just rolled their eyes at you.
No, they're like, he's so smart. Whoa. So I'd grab it by its arms. And you remember in the Avengers when Hulk beats the fuck out of Loki like that?
Are you gonna swing the
that's what
monkey like that?
Yeah. Well, that's the best way
Oh
because
my
gravity's
fucking
also
God.
on your side. It's really smart.
The monkey will latch itself onto your arm and probably rip it off out of its socket.
No. That's why I grab both arms while it goes for because it's going to try to make the first grab, and that's its mistake. It got too overeager and it underestimated me.
Okay.
So as its fingers go for my eyeballs, I grab it by the wrist, and I would
Fun
then
fact.
pull it down, knee it in the chin, and it goes like, oh, and then I'd start swinging it back and forth. This sounds like I thought too much about this. Really, I'm just doing it for that money. You know, I'm doing it for that moolah.
So fun fact, there is a guy, this is real. I have to go look for the picture. It's really hard to find because I don't know exactly what to search for because it's a specific big cat that attacks this guy while he's out. Like, I don't know if he was hunting. I think he was just like taking photos. And it was back in the day. So this was still like a black and white photo. So he, to beat this thing that was going to kill him, he shoved his entire arm down its throat and then took his free hand and sealed the neck and choked it to death. In the process, he broke his entire arm that he put inside the mouth of the big cat.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a really funny picture of him standing next to its body, and he looks really fucking mad about it.
That'd be me.
No, that's not Cullen.
I wouldn't break my arm. I'd be different. But
Cullen,
anyway,
I love you so much.
Yeah, I try.
Go to the next question, please.
Sam G asks, by the time we'll hear y'all next, the Switch 2 will have its head. Well, let me just restart this. By the time we'll hear y'all next, the Switch 2 will have had its full unveiling direct. So, what are you pie in the sky ridiculous?
What are your pie in the sky? It's a typo.
Oh, right. So, what are your pie in the sky ridiculous or otherwise self-indulgence predictions for the Switch dicks? Do you think you'll get one? Do you think you'll get one, or would you wait if you could for the inevitable lighter OLED models?
I'm not gonna get a Switch 2 because I'm not that into Nintendo IPs or whatever, even though I really want to play Xenoblade. And my pie in the sky dream is something I know that will never happen. And if this gets announced, I will literally throw my chair out the window because I don't want this to happen. Baten Kaitos 3.
That would be sick.
Go ahead, Cullen.
Or you know what? A Golden Sun remake.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm trying to
Jeez.
think. It's very difficult for me as the guy who buys all the Nintendo games and really likes all the current Nintendo IPs and has bought 4 Switches and is definitely going to buy the Switch 2 to think in non-Nintendo brain about this kind of stuff. Because as someone who loves his Switch, I've basically been pleased by Nintendo themselves directly nonstop for years. I got Emio, like that's like kind of as big of a dream game as you can really get. Let's see, pie in the sky kind of. I'd like a new Fire Emblem, but I know that's gonna happen. Like that's the thing. Some of my 2 favorite franchises from Nintendo are Fire Emblem and Xenoblade, and they make those regularly.
Yep.
I guess what I'm most interested in though is the backwards compatibility. Mostly from a tech brain kind of perspective, because I really want to know how they do it. A lot of Switch games look like that because the developers have adaptive resolution that tweaks itself based on probably a lot of complicated things, but mostly to hit a certain performance target. So I'm curious how they're going to do it really, because if it's just that I put my Switch 1 game in my Switch 2 and the code of the game already knows that because it's running on better hardware, it can look better, that's going to be crazy cool. I'm really looking forward to putting in a lot of Switch games third party or main, like first party in the Switch 2 and just seeing how they run. I honestly think one of the first things I'll do with my Switch 2, regardless of the launch lineup, is just going through all my Switch cartridges and all my downloads, booting them up, running around and seeing how different they are. I adore my Switch 2, my Switch. I really want a Switch 2, and I'm just hoping I'll be able to pre-order one. In terms of like franchises I might really want, I'm trying to think. I guess what I don't want is more Bayonetta.
What about Eternal Darkness?
I never played that. Well, okay, I played a little bit of it, and I thought it was just like, this is fine. I would like,
but
for
I'm thinking
Nintendo,
about the craziest pulls. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 1 remaster on Switch 2. Oh geez, like what do they do that I have not already gotten on Switch? Like a new Zelda would be neat.
Something that isn't like fucking Tears of the Kingdom, though. Please, a different formula.
I mean, I think they've already said they're done. Like, I love Tears of the Kingdom. That's my favorite Zelda, but I would not say no for them to mix up the formula again. And I really hope in the last couple years they've been doing that. And it would be really cool if there was a Zelda launch game. I don't think we have I'm not sure if Zelda's a yearly franchise at this point. I think they typically have like their big A-team games, and then you got your like remasters or B-team games like Echoes of Wisdom. So I don't know. I was honestly really surprised when we had the direct over the week, because I would assume that's where they would announce some of their ports, like their remasters or whatever for Zelda. So the fact that we don't, I assumed this year would be a port year, like Twilight Princess or Wind Waker.
Sort of getting them all out of the way.
Mm-hmm. For so normal Switch. Yeah. So the fact that we might see a Zelda game next week is very interesting. Because that's we could think about what the launch lineup is going to be. I imagine they have a Mario ready to go. It's
Super
been
Mario Sunshine 6.
Wow.
Sorry.
Even after
Mario
5 was so divisive.
It's probably going to be something like, I don't know.
Super Mario Galaxy Universe.
Super Mario Universe, yeah.
Yeah, because it's got like the Galaxy was so long ago, and they have not put out like a proper 3D Mario since. They're totally cooking one ready for the Switch 2. I would not be surprised if that shit's just done and waiting.
I'm really excited for Super Mario the Iliad, the prequel to Super Mario Odyssey.
Mario gets lost.
Before you take it, GC, all I can really hope for is that Nintendo continues funding weird ass fucking games on occasion.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about the Switch era, is that there's some weird ass fucking games coming from them. And it's been nice.
I am probably going to buy a Switch 2 on launch because I tend to be an early adopter for handheld stuff. Mm-hmm. Mostly because most of the time when a handheld comes out, it's more or less what you're going to get for the entire life cycle. Like, yeah, the OLED Switch is great. I own one, but like, it's not that different from the original Switch. So it's what you get, what you see is what you get usually. So I'll probably adopt the Switch 2 early, and then pie in the sky, I'm thinking I want a new Pokemon Stadium. I really like the structure of Pokemon Stadium. I really wanted one of those. I would love a Hey You Pikachu sequel, because Hey You Pikachu is great. I'm thinking of like Nintendo stuff, but there's not much that's like not obviously happening. Like, we're gonna get another Animal Crossing at some point. We're gonna get another Zelda. We're gonna get another Mario, like you're saying. Yeah. Oh, especially because New Horizons sold tremendously. So and we'll probably get years. One on launch. It's been a while.
You know what I just realized?
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think about this when I was talking about pie in the sky. If for those of you who might not have been as really looking and speculating about this thing, the new Joy-Cons literally have mouse, like they have the ability to act as a mouse.
So Dragon Quest X.
World of Warcraft on the Nintendo Switch.
See, I was more thinking like a return to like the DS era of like point and click kind of.
Oh, you know what? You're right. With that mouse functionality, they don't even have to like, they might be able to port some stuff to The Switch 2
We might get DS
ports.
like Nintendo Online or whatever. But honestly, it's just I feel like with this hardware gimmick, that genre could just have another creative boom.
Yep. That also includes Wii U games as well, but most of them have already been brought over.
But that system's dead now that Xenoblade's out.
Yeah. No, that's true. Mouse capabilities means touch screen style controls
Hotel
can come
Dusk,
back.
welcome back.
I imagine converting a DS game and a 3DS game by that extension into a Switch port is not a simple task. But if you retain a lot of the touchscreen style controls, then it does make things a little easier, I would imagine. Yeah, no, that's it. I'm buying the Switch 2, and I want them to go back to the GameCube era of franchises they've never really or the spinoffs they never really touched. I would love a new Paper Mario in the classic style of the Thousand Year Door, given that the remake for that was really well received. I would love a Dragon Quest 4, 5, 6 release. Would love ports of those, but those are all pie in the sky because there's really no information out there or no reason for me to believe that they're going to do that. So yeah, there you go. And yeah, that's it.
Also, I think our next podcast is a day before the Switch reveal.
Oh, that's great.
You know,
No, it's on Tuesday.
No, it's the second. Tuesday is April 1st.
Wait, but we don't. But wait,
we upload on April 1st.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm
you're
anemic.
good.
You
No
know.
worries.
Yeah, you're good. So at the very least, now we get to play a fun game where these predictions are just out there and you have a day to ruminate on them, and then you can come back a day after and be like, "Y'all are dumb."
Oh, mine are never happening. Golden Sun's fucking dead. World of Warcraft on the Switch. That's fucking hilarious. That's like a meme pick. And what's it called?
With that mouse though, you know for sure that fucking Square's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we're putting 14 on this thing."
No,
Fortsy's not
they
gonna run on that shit.
no way. I mean, it's not. World of Warcraft can run on a lot of really bad systems just because of like the way it is. 14 cannot because they've basically been discontinuing old versions of that game.
They discontinued it on
No, it's on Switch
PS4,
too.
didn't they?
But
Yeah.
new hardware.
Yeah, but the Switch isn't going to be, the Switch 2 is not going to be more powerful than like a PS4.
It's probably gonna be about as powerful.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
But they're probably gonna discontinue it on PS4 soon.
yeah, they're probably gearing up to do another one of those.
I don't
Because
know.
every
Lock it
live
in.
letter
That's
Yoshi P's like,
that's my
oh,
prediction.
we can't do this thing because we're being limited by the PlayStation. We can't do this thing every fucking time. And then eventually it's like, we're discontinuing this on the PlayStation.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Dragon Quest 10. It's already on the Switch, but Dragon Quest 10, it's a great opportunity to localize it. Square Enix.
Nah.
No, it's never going to happen. That game isn't that interesting. Sorry to everybody who likes Dragon Quest 10. I'm sorry. I played it. I thought it was fine.
Well, that's all the questions we have. Thank you for listening to another episode of Burnout Culture. Kaz, where can they find us?
Oh my god. They can find me in the pits of hell, fist fighting Walt Disney.
Let's go!
No, you can find us at Burnout Culture on YouTube, Blue Sky, and Spotify. And you can also catch up on our episodes or be alerted through our RSS feed, which Cullen has so lovingly put together.
Did I do that?
Yeah, you actually
Yeah, you
did.
Yay, I did that.
And I know that's actually how a lot of people like check our updates and stuff. So
Yahoo! I don't get it, but I'm glad y'all like it.
well, I guess that's it, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye!